Right, welcome back to another lesson in high school ICT. In this lesson, I want to speak about our font grouping. So just a reminder, this is our ribbon over here with our different groupings, and they are indicated by lines going down. So this is the font grouping over here. And in our font grouping, we have our fonts, and we have the font type, and we have our font size, and within that we have our font family and our font face. We're going to speak about some of the terminology. Alright, so let's just type any word. Welcome. Whoopsie daisy. Okay, let's get the spelling right. Okay, if I double click on the word, it brings up this pop-up box, and you'll see that it's got similar buttons as in my font grouping and my paragraph grouping. So I can go and change my font type by clicking on this drop down arrow, and I can choose the different fonts that I want. Okay, you can see there's Arial, Arial Black, Arial Narrow, Arial Nova, etc. So that is my font family. So I have my font type, and then I have my font family. Within that particular font, there are different types of fonts that I can choose. And you can see this span script, etc. Okay, so that's how I chose that one. I can then choose the size, which is in points. I can go to 20, 26, 42, 72, etc. And then in my grouping, I've got these little buttons that also allow me to make the font smaller without actually selecting a particular one. So I could look and see, okay, this fits, and make it smaller again. Then I can also, okay, this now is being bolded, but I can click bold. So this is the font face. I can italics it, and I can underline it. I can then also go and change my color of my font. Okay. I can also use superscript and subscript. So if I click enter, and please take note that when you've clicked the enter key, it takes the same formatting to the next paragraph. In my paragraph grouping over here, if I click on this little button, it's the show hide, it will show wherever I've put a spacebar or used my tab or clicked enter, etc. It shows the formatting. That does not print, that just shows what is behind the scenes. Please take note that when you click enter, it gives you an empty paragraph. Many people, when working, hit the enter key to go to a new line. I'll demonstrate what we do to go to a new line to keep our paragraph the same without creating a new paragraph. Okay, so once again, when you click enter, it creates empty paragraphs. And I'm going to highlight these, and I want to change Century Gothic, and I want 14, and I don't want it bold, I don't want it underlined, and I don't want I want it to be black. Now you'll notice over here I'm going to type a word, another word, and I don't know, hello. And over here I'm going to type office. Okay, so I've got welcome, word, another word, hello. And if I want to have this to be the same format as hello, then all that I need to do is click on hello, and then in my clipboard grouping I've got format painter. Click on that, and it makes a little paintbrush. Left click, drag it over, and I'm actually going to go as far as that. Okay, take note, I did not include that enter key, so when I click enter, the formatting is still going to stay the same as it was previously. Okay, so in order to ensure that I want the same format to carry on to the next line, I then needed to have highlighted the entire word and the enter key, so that when I go to the next paragraph, I get the same formatting as the paragraph above. Please take note, these are not separate lines, these are separate paragraphs. So if I went and made two paragraphs, you can see that the line spacing comes to the end of the line, it wraps around, and it goes on to a new line. So if I was typing here and I said, this is still part of my line. Now I want to go to a new line and not a new paragraph. I'm then going to click or press Shift Enter, and you can see it makes the back arrow. So Shift Enter allows me to go into a new line. So I said this is still part of my line and part of the same paragraph. Okay, if I now click Enter, I've created a new paragraph. And if I click Shift Enter, a new line, and Shift Enter, another new line. Okay, that's important for when we look at paragraph and line spacing, which will be in another video. And the whole idea of using Word is that you want to be able to use your fonts to create styles. We're going to look at that as well. We're going to look at styles in another video. So I want to be able to keep the formatting the same throughout my document. It could be 100 pages, 10 pages, 5 pages, doesn't matter. And if I want to do any changes, then it's easier when I've set things up in my styles, and I've also created lines and paragraphs, etc. So when I change the spacing, it is uniform throughout my document that I'm typing, whether it be 300, 1,000 pages, doesn't matter. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I can highlight this paragraph. I've clicked it 3 times. I can change this to, say, Comic Sans, and I can change it to size 16. Okay. If I want to underline a particular word, I can highlight that word, and let's say I want to make it bold. If I press Ctrl B, it will bold the word. If I Ctrl I to italics, and if I Ctrl U, it underlines. If I want to take that off, if I double click, I can take it off by clicking on the B, or I can press Ctrl B again, it will take it away, it will undo what I've done. Okay, so over here, whoopsie daisy, take off the I, take off the U. Okay, so those are some of the things that I can do with my font grouping. Something else that I want to show you is this little more button over here. So if I go to this paragraph and I click on the more button, then it brings up my font family, my font face, and then the font size and font color. I can also change the entire sentence to small caps, so it makes everything in capitals but small or all caps. So let's click on small caps, you can see what that looks like. Let's undo. Okay, I can also go in my font grouping and click on this little button, and I can get sentence case. So if it was, so I'd typed in, everything was in, I had no capitals, it was lowercase, and if I click sentence case, then it will put a capital letter after the full stop. I can put this into lowercase. So that's an example. I'm going to take off my hide show. Okay, so if I highlight this, click on the button, sentence case, you can see it made after the full stops into capitals. I can change it, capitalize each word, toggle case, uppercase, sentence case, etc. And again, in my font grouping, if I click on the More button, there's some extra things that I can do, small caps, all caps, etc. Okay, so those are some of the things that I can do in my font grouping.